right. Well, we seem to be having a good time doing this, so we're going to make this a reoccurring show, the Alabama Strongman podcast. So today you got me, Chuck, and Trey Godbold here with me.
Hello, everybody.
He's remote today, so he's going to have some bad lighting, and hopefully his equipment don't fall out on us. But next time we'll try to get him back up here.
I'm extremely small today on this screen.
Yeah, I like it. Hang on. We'll
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. Oh,
All right.
God.
So, I mean, you made fun of me for my speech and stuttering and pausing and long-winded breaks, but I think that was due to doing the podcast at 7 in the morning before work. So, hopefully, at 8:30 at night will be a little bit better.
I think if you would have took maybe a couple dry shots of pre-workout, that'd have been a better podcast.
I haven't taken pre-workout in about 2 months.
Oh, well, it'll definitely hit you pretty good then.
Oh yeah, I still drink my Rain Energies because he's a friend of mine, so I get a lot of those. But
Yeah, that is true.
um,
There was a lot of them.
yeah. Well, we've got another guest going to join us a little later, Mr. Tyler from PSL. He's going to hop on here, and we'll get to ask him a lot of questions about this past weekend with the U90. We had a few friends in it, people that we've competed against and with, and had at our shows. I think they've competed at some of our shows that we've hosted too.
My little midget twin won, Mr. Bama
Yes, he did.
Hammer.
Tyler Davis, very very good win too. We'll try to save a lot of that talk for that show, or when Tyler gets on here with us. For
The
now,
old man triumphs again.
oh man, he killed it. That's for sure. Some other stuff that we got going on though. This coming weekend, we are going to be at the Forge Gym live streaming the battle, or sorry, Red Redbeard's Games.
He combined three into one.
Yeah, I kept wanting to say Redbeard's Revenge for some reason, but that's the event that you titled, wasn't it? Or was that no, that was the Forge event.
That's Forge, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so
The
Jeremy
one that I
Shell,
won.
yeah, you're the one you won.
Yeah.
But Jeremy Shell is going to be hosting his first event October 12th at the Forge Gym. He really leaned into the redneck part of it. Instead of calling them sandbags, he called them feed bags. And I really thought he was going to have some feed bags. I said, "What are you going to do when they
Uh,
bust?"
yeah. Me too, actually. I was very confused. Like, what the hell? I mean,
There for
it's
a second,
interesting, but
yeah. Well, there for a second, I thought the Mill Monster was going to be a sponsor.
oh god. The mill monster.
I just
Oh
remember
yeah, that
the
was
kids running around chunking feed at each other.
yes. The 30-degree show. Oh my god.
That was an
I do
interesting
not
show.
envy y'all at all when y'all was doing that.
It was hard to stay warm, that's for sure. But that was, I think that was my first real experience with high level competitors because I say high level, like I had Louisiana strongest Andrew Perkins, I had Mississippi strongest Caleb Vaughn, had Alabama strong Todd Williams, all three in my division. That was pretty fun because I think at that time they
Any,
all three were the state strongest.
anytime you can compete with Todd, you'll learn a lot.
Oh yes, which he's competing this weekend too. Um, I was trying
I
to get
know.
Jeremy
I
on
get
with
to
us.
watch it in person. It's gonna be amazing.
I know I haven't seen him compete since the Limit Breaker, the first one.
First year, that's right.
Yep, and he
He's been
won.
on his diet and slimmed down a good bit, so this will be interesting.
Dude, I swear, I think we just traded because I went from like 185, 195 to 220, and now he went from 220 down to like 200,
Uh,
195. Uh,
Getting chunky and pressing more weight.
but you know what? I'm not really getting any chunkier than I was before. I think it's all in my legs, which I'm all right
Who
with.
knows? You keep it up, you'll be Eddie Hall in about 4 or 5 months.
Shoot, let me get on that TRT and a few other things.
Ice cream and cheesecake every night.
I do have key lime pie waiting on me to go home.
Oh, okay.
So you should feel honored. I'm being dead serious. I've already finished off one key lime pie in the last 7 days, and I got another one waiting on me.
Jesus Christ, we eat half a pie a day?
I did that one.
Okay.
I love key. I can't turn down key lime anything.
Well, if that's the secret to benching a lot, then keep doing it.
Hey, I was very proud of that 405 today. I ain't quite got to your level yet, but I'm happy with
Well,
it.
I posted that video on my YouTube that I hadn't posted in a while, and I have like 1,000 little views on there. But of course, somebody got on there and was like, this doesn't seem authentic. Can anybody spot what's missing? And I was looking at the video. I was looking at myself. Like, what the hell's missing? The bar is bending. There's you can see all the rest of 45s in the background. But I said, there's always got to be that one person that is going to do that. That's why I just tell everybody now that ask in public or inmates somewhere around. Like, oh, how much you bid? It's 135.
Oh yeah, you got it. Just 135. You're good. That's
135. Or if they see my video, that's not real. That's right. They're all fake. They're 25-pound plates.
all fake weights.
Yep.
Justin Weaver does that too. Like he he'll send me a video or he'll tag me like you do, and I'll reshare it. And I make fun of him sometimes because he crops it just right to where you can't see what's on the bar sometimes. I'm like, how much was that? I would like to know because I'm a promoter trying to recruit you to a show. How much was that for real? And he's like, oh, that's only like 135 pounds. I was like, clearly that's over 600, 700 pounds.
Yep.
So I
Yeah, he's
haven't,
wild.
well,
All
I
all
haven't
those guys
announced
are
this
wild.
yet.
Go ahead.
I made this decision about 15, 20 minutes ago, and this video will not go live probably until, at least for the members, it'll go live this week, but for everybody else watching, it's going to be going live probably after the show. But I'm going to be jumping into this Redneck Games.
I think it's going to be. I mean, obviously, we talked about it before we went live. I
Yeah.
gave my opinion. I think you need to. Obviously, right now you're hitting on all cylinders. So, and you ain't getting no younger. So you need to go
No.
compete whenever you can.
But you know what? The thing is, I'm not going to compete in my weight class. I'm going to try to go up one.
That's right. And you got a
There's
hell of a
our,
competitor, and it's going to be a hard show for you.
oh, it was the choice between competing against my new athlete or competing against your athlete. And I didn't want to compete against my
Uh,
own athlete.
who's your athlete?
Austin Bagley. He actually just started working with me
Oh,
this week.
Mr. Bagley. Yep.
Yep. He came down this past Saturday or Sunday, and we ran through a bunch of techniques, and he got 205 overhead, and he's like, "That's almost how much I bench." I was like, "Dude, just stick with the techniques, keep training." And he ended up signing up with me before he left. So,
Y'all ought to get along just fine since both of y'all have the mustache power.
oh yes, I think that was what it was. I had just shaved to the mustache like 2 days prior. He walked in and
Yep.
saw it, and he's like, "This is my coach."
Well, if you lay down one way and he lays down the other, y'all complete a full circle.
I don't know about that. We're not going to be testing that theory. Mm-mm. We
All
ain't doing
you
no
stash people
Spider-Man.
stick together.
That's right. Look, I can't help it that this grows thicker and you have this. I don't have this. Mine just gets real scraggly and looks like
Well,
I'm
it's got to get past the
meth
scrag
head.
report, and then it'll come on down.
But that's not the case for this. Like I can grow a mean like, Magnum PI.
And you go and have it curl to the side like Mr. Peanut.
Oh, I can. It just all I gotta
You
do is
get some
just a little
wax.
teasing.
Just,
I can
yeah,
do it.
that'd be great.
Alex doesn't prefer that as much.
Oh, I'm sure
Let's
she doesn't.
let's run through these events for this next weekend show while we're waiting on Mr. Tyler and give me your thoughts on it. Um, what about so the first event is going to be a mud tire axle press for Max. It's
Mm.
it's going to be starting at 185. I thought his tires were heavier than that. I thought his tires were 200, but he may have a set of 80s.
Yeah, he has two sets. One has a sand in them. They were like 100 and whatever, 102 pounds, whatever they were a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lighter set was they had the little chrome wheels on them. They're
Mm-hmm.
lighter.
Because mine in here, they're 70 pounds each, which with the bar and everything puts it right at like 185 pounds. So I'm pretty confident that that's going to be, well, I thought I knew who was going to be the winner of that overall, but I think he dropped out. I'm not going to say who because I don't want to spoil anything, but I think that's going to be a good event for Todd Williams and Charles Posey. He came in second at Georgia's when we were out there in the 231 class.
No, you can win that one now.
I don't know. My overhead press with axle is not as good as my bench press.
Well,
Like,
that's when you got to do the Mitchell Hooper and do the standing incline bench.
yeah. My problem though is just getting it into the rack position, like you.
Oh, yeah, that is very
Mine's not
difficult.
due to mobility. It's just getting. It's just more strength of getting that form down.
Axle to chest is my kryptonite.
Thankfully, though, he allows belt clean, so I will be all right with that. In my position, I might win that one. The next event, I don't believe I have any luck in winning the mud tire axle deadlift. It's a 9-inch deadlift, so we're going to be on a platform pulling
Ooh,
from, yeah, pulling from deadlift height with an axle bar. And for my division, it's going to be 550 pounds, which is about 20 pounds over my current max.
no, no, you got that for reps.
I hope so. Um, let's see what else we got here. We got the farmers to feed sack medley. So it's going to be a farmers carry down and then a sandbag carry back. It's 300-pound farmers for my division and a 300-pound sack coming back. I have officially broken the 300-pound bag off the ground now and picked it up to waist, so I know I'll at least move it. Uh, farmers,
That's a heavy damn medley right there.
it is. Farmers, I did 275 at the forge pretty easily last time, so I think they'll be okay there. We got feed sack to shoulder, so sandbag to shoulder medley. It's just as many bags over your shoulder or to your shoulder as quick as possible. I think I'll be all right there. I've been training that one actually, so I'll be good there. But the last one, the feed sack over bar, I think it's a 50-inch bar for men, 52-inch bar, and it's a 300-pound bag.
Ooh,
Yeah, I don't think that's
uh,
going to happen for me.
I don't think either one of you gonna do a whole lot on there. I
I don't
think
think so
probably
either.
2 or 3 reps will win,
I'm
or hell, maybe
so
0 reps might tie first.
So if I have the energy, my plan is to try to shoulder it and flip it over because I can't just lift it and do like a full load, like triple
Hmm.
extension over the bar. I know I can't do that, but I did get 265 to the shoulder pretty convincingly the other day. And as long as I've got the energy, I think I might be able to work 300 up there.
What is the what's time on that? 60 seconds,
It doesn't have it on there, but I'm assuming that's what it is.
and then it's for what 52 inches height.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So the sandbag to shoulder run is going to be 100, 135, 200, 225, 250, 275, 300, and 350. I think I'm good through the 250.
350 bag.
Yeah, so the division I'm in, it's going to be all the bags laid out, and it's going to be as many to shoulder as you can in 60 seconds.
Who the hell he thought he was gonna have there? There's not very many people who do 350 bag.
Well, I know, I think Justin Weaver would probably be able to do a 350 bag to shoulder.
Maybe. Yeah, he is pretty low end strong, so and he don't have to
And
press it
then,
very far or get it very far.
yeah, and then Caleb Vaughn, um, I know he can log press in the 300, so I don't know how his sandbag work is.
That 350 bag is something else.
Yeah, I can
I've
imagine.
loaded it. I've got it in my shoulder like probably 5 times now, but good God Almighty, before I got it, it was like glued to the floor.
I can imagine that 300. When it broke the ground for me, that was a very exciting day. I think I sent you the video. All excited.
Yeah, it looked pretty easy actually. I was wanting to check the weight.
Well, if anything, though, it's probably heavier than what I think because I got it listed at 308, and I did it on my scale. That's pretty forgiving when it comes to weigh-ins. So that when I stand on it and it says 217, it's really me weighing about 220. So it's probably about a
Gotcha.
310 bag. But what's your thoughts about those events? If you were competing, what do you think you'd
uh,
be good with, and what you'd be struggling with?
I think I could do everything pretty easy except the axle. And You said the axle is for max, so I guess it'll
The
go up 20 pound
press,
jumps.
yeah, yeah, the press is for max, and then the deadlift is for reps.
So I'd be in the mid threes, maybe high threes, but my issue is by the time I got it up to my hands, I'd be so worn out that I couldn't get what I could actually press. That's for sure.
Yeah. Um, just kind of walking Austin through this last week. Like we didn't get over 205, but I feel based off how 205 moved, I think 245, 255, somewhere in that range is going to be doable for me, depending on the jumps. If it's 20-pound jumps, 245.
We just got to make sure we stretch you pretty well to
Mm.
first thing because that's the biggest part with the axle.
Well, like I said, it's not so much the mobility; it's just getting like the explosiveness to get it up and get up underneath it. Like once I get it here, I'm comfortable and I'm good to go. And I can even
Yeah,
do the little Trey Leonard where I drop into it.
you're a big Z deadlifter, which means no matter what weight you deadlift the same speed.
Yes, 100%. We were
Yeah.
talking about that yesterday because that's another thing. I maxed out on deadlift yesterday and maxed out on bench today. And then I decided to do the show. And my my 390 deadlift and my 490 moved the exact same speed. It was hilarious
Uh,
because I have another guy who I've been training for a couple of years now. He started off with like a 315 deadlift. He now officially beat me as of yesterday, and I was very both proud and a little bit bitter about it. But he was so explosive and fast with the 400. I was like, he's going to smoke me. And then we both put 531 on the bar, and I broke the ground and I couldn't quite finish it. And he was able to work it up, hitch it up, and everything.
uh, have you pulled on the mammoth bar or the elephant bar?
I pulled on the Mammoth bar with um, the Arsenal bar, but not the what is it? The what's the bar that Cerberus has, or not Cerberus, but Kratos? It's not the Mammoth. It's the Sasquatch. I haven't pulled on that one.
Can you pull more on that bar than you can a regular deadlift bar?
Yes, yes. The first time I pulled over 500 was on the Mammoth bar, and that was at the first limit breaker.
Yeah. So you need to work on your low end.
Yeah. Well, typically, if I can break the ground and if I can get it past my knees, I can get it. It's not the lockout that I have issues with. It's breaking the ground.
Are you a real narrow grip or water grip?
I moved to narrow and I broke the 500s, and then since I've been in the 500s, I've moved back wider because I stopped using my glutes and I was using way too much back.
Yep.
So I've now gotten to a wider stance, and I was actually able to break the 530 off the ground pretty convincingly. I just couldn't lock it out at that point. I couldn't get past my knees.
I mean, your back's getting stronger, especially if you're benching 405 now.
Oh, I mean, my back's got stronger based off of the sandbag stuff. Just implementing it every week.
Yep.
Um, I can definitely tell a difference in that.
I've got all my athletes back training except for one, which she'll start back tomorrow. Uh, Tasia hadn't trained at all since she got done with that competition because she had a
No?
surgery on her legs. So she's
Hmm.
back finally.
She had surgery.
Yeah, she had fluid built up on her legs and had to remove it. And
Oh,
for the past few weeks, her legs have been nothing but bruised, and it looked like she was in a car crash. Is how bad it looked. But she's
hmm.
finally where she can feel her legs again because they were numb, and she's gonna get back to training. So all my athletes will be back training as of tomorrow.
That's good. Well, while we're waiting on him to get in here, and I'm going to test out something myself, um, need to shout out our members to the channel. We have added a few new ones,
Speaking of,
and yeah, Tasia is the second longest running member to the channel, next to you. Then we've got um, so you, Tasia, Stan, Miss Rosalinda. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Then we got
that's
Cadence.
good.
We've got
Yep.
Devin, Destiny, Jonathan Chappell. Ooh, I'm struggling to remember these last
Olivia,
two. Olivia and Emmanuel or Manny. So we got and then they're missing one person, I think. I don't want to miss anybody.
Yeah, Olivia had to create a whole new YouTube to get on there.
I appreciate that. And then, did we say Stan?
You did. It was
Yeah, we
third.
did. We did. Mr. Adam. That was the 11th. There we go.
Adam, the Stone Man.
Adam guy.
Oh, Adam Guy. Okay, I'm sorry. Nathan, you mean? Nathan
Yeah,
Guy.
Nathan. I also shout out to our channel sponsor, Cerberus. Um, they sponsored our channel, and they also are the main sponsor for Professional Strongman League. It's the Cerberus Super Series, I think is what it's called.
You can't beat Cerberus. They're damn sure a good brand.
That's right. Speaking of Manny, he just tagged me in a video for his training.
Yep, me too.
Incline pressing 315.
I'm scared to
Yeah,
skip
don't do it
off
on your
because I'll
phone.
be and then I'll be screwed. Do you have a? Does you and your wife have a photo or a cluster of camera or frames in your house with other people's pictures in the frame that have nothing to do with your family?
Yes, actually, we have.
Oh, okay.
My wife currently took out our wedding photos and replaced them with Halloween photos of like the Adams family and the monsters, stuff like that. But
No,
I don't have
mine is
just
mine was bought this way and it has a bunch of different families and it's a very every time I look at it I'm like what the hell?
I ain't got time for it.
It's grown up time.
So don't talk shit.
from the guy yelling for an adult earlier.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't figure it out. Help, save me! I'm still. I wish we could go back to just the 20-foot phone cord walking around your kitchen to communicate.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
No,
What do you think your kids would do if you put a rotary phone in front of them?
uh, I don't know what the hell they do. To be honest with you, they probably thought I was punking them. I know they wouldn't know how to use it. That would be funny though. I'm sure I can still find one, but hell, I'd have to have landline for the house, and who the hell has a landline anymore?
I saw a guy who was walking around. He had an old corded phone, and he put it in his pocket. He put the base in his pocket, and he held the actual phone to his ear, and he was walking around the airport pretending to talk on it. And people kept coming up asking, "What is that? What is that?" And he goes, "Oh, this is my new cell phone." I'm like, where'd you get that? How do you get one of those? And they were excited about it. They thought it was the new thing.
You're kidding me.
No, it was hilarious.
What was his reason for doing that? Just fucking with people?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. This is the
No. He
Galaxy
wasn't the base in his
S30.
pocket. It wasn't the base in his pocket. He took like the normal receiver. It had the curly cable on it. He took that and like connected it to his actual cell phone. Put his cell phone in his pocket and made it like it was just like a wired headphone.
What the crap? Okay. So elaborate with me because we're not live. The guys portion of effing or the limit breaker in the chat. What is your game plan with that? Because I saw where somebody was saying you wanted it family friendly or something like that.
No, I want the live stream family friendly, like the
That's never going
actual
to happen
competition. The
with
actual
them in there.
competition.
Oh, the competition. Well, it's still going to probably have some weird stuff in that one too.
Well, yeah, but I can go to commercial break if I need to.
Yeah.
Um, I
The
can control that a little bit better.
there's a certain few that are. There's some. I wouldn't want to be in a room with them by myself.
No, we might be on a list if we're associated with him.
That's right. That's
Uh,
right.
so he's there's about 5 or 6 of them that just they do stuff and say stuff to just really push the limit, and I think they're trying to outdo each other, and it gets just too out of hand sometimes, and I have to back away
Yeah.
from it. But my plan is for when I have them all on this type setup, we'll have multi-screen Brady Bunch style intro, and I have the ability to mute people, so I can mute people if I need to, if they're just getting too rowdy, and just mute everybody and say, "Hey, hang on, let's go back." But it's just going to be a cluster, and it's going to be for members only, and it's going to stay for members only because I'm not going to release it to the public. And if you want to see it, you'll have to pay at least 99 cents a month to get access. Heck, I might even make that $4.99 so people actually have to commit.
So is this going to be heavyweights be in their own room, or are you having all the men together?
I haven't decided yet. So if I do all the men, it's going to be like 30 of us in there.
Yeah, because the only thing I was be saying the whole time was that all the lighter men are betas.
You know, I may only do well, I don't know that because the main ones going back and forth. It's like 2 heavyweight and 3 lightweight, and they are back
Oh,
and
I
forth,
didn't
back
know
and
there's another
forth.
heavyweight. I knew about one. I keep it on mute.
uh,
I don't want to see all of it.
I'm trying to think that I don't want to say their names yet. Oh, there he is. Hang on. Hey, there he is.
Whoa!
What's up, man? How in the world is it so zoomed in?
Did you just
It's
get out of
'cause
bed?
No, that's just my hair. Normally, I get a haircut Tuesday.
there we go. What's going on, man?
What's up, man? Chris, why in the world? Is that on my end? I'm technologically fucking stupid.
It looks like the rays of heaven are shining down on your screen.
It's it's just an overhead light up there.
Oh,
I can show you.
Saw them blessings from a great show this weekend.
that's right.
actually really funny. No one said it. It happens a lot, but no one's ever said that.
Well, Tyler, I appreciate you joining us, man.
Yeah.
Been trying to get this done for a little bit. I was hoping to do it for the show, but our schedules just couldn't line up between me, you, and Trey. But welcome, and I guess let's start off with you had a really successful weekend.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. I'm glad we can finally make this happen. We've been trying for feels like a month now. Yeah, no, this past weekend, the 90s, the 64s, and we had a couple of record attempts go down, which were all just phenomenal shows. And I think if anybody missed out on any of it, they really did miss out on an awesome day of Strongman.
Definitely. Trey, Tyler, have y'all met before, or have y'all spoken before?
No.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, though.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
I say I didn't think to introduce. I know Tyler as Pro Strongman League on Instagram because that's how we communicate primarily.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. I intentionally try not to be the face of it because I don't want it to be about me. So that's actually a good thing. That he's like, who is this guy?
I can respect that. Could definitely respect that. But watching this past weekend, I appreciate you letting us do our little own kind of watch party.
Yeah, no, man. It's I thought it was cool. Once I started to understand what you were asking, I was like, oh yeah, that's awesome. Like, it's just more people seeing it that probably wouldn't have found it through our page.
Yeah, because our subscribers are not all strongmen. There's a mix of people who found our channel through fitness related videos. Some people who just like my wife and like me and talk to us and stuff. My family. So a lot of times my family jumps on and watches it randomly, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you're competing or you're talking about it." So, but we're hoping to start doing that more often. Originally our podcast started off as Whiskey Weights and Whey. We still do that one, me and a friend of mine, but now we've started doing this one where we talk strictly strongman with Trey, and Trey is kind of our residential badass, I guess is the best way to put it. He's won all the local shows.
Yeah.
I have consistently come in about 4th or 5th in all of our local shows. So I'm our what's it on the World Strongest
old
Man
man.
show? No, I'm the average Joe or whatever.
Average Joe. That's right.
Yeah. We're Brian and all them were going around doing all these different feats, and they had their cameraman come up and test it out. That's me. Oh, well, I do appreciate you making our show a qualifier for yours, especially since we have a few overlaps right now with the 90 guys at least.
Yeah, there's a couple. I saw you put out the announcement today, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Tyler, Jacob, somebody. I think it was 3 or 4 that I recognized like right away.
So we got Tyler, Jacob, and Pinkerton. All 3 competed, and then Adam, who attempted the world record on the stone, so he's competing.
That was such a big stone.
I know we were watching it. I think he was just a little too far back, Yeah, I think if he was a little closer and was able to get it up, just like he wasn't far from getting over that.
Mm. He was. I'm sure he knows more than we do how close he was right
Oh
there. I
yeah,
think he was right on the verge of it. That's a big stone. Was rolling it around. We're like, dang, that's a heavy stone.
yeah. We got a little group chat with all the athletes, and one of them was talking about how he was molesting the stone beforehand because he was trying to get a feel for it.
Yeah, he was. That's right. They zoomed in on him putting the tacky on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was part of the agreement. I was like, hey man, like whatever you want to do to it within, reason and like integrity to it before to make it work for you, then cool. Like by all means go out there, mess around with it, do what you need, put it in the exact right spot, all that stuff before time starts. And I think
Mhm.
it's a good thing when athletes do that because it's like a lot of people don't take those opportunities and they cost themselves and there's always that like what if, right?
definitely. So, was there any? I know you got a couple of deadlift records, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a couple of world records that got one set technically and one broke. Like Summer Johnson,
Okay.
she broke her own deadlift record, 82.
Mm-hmm.
It's American and world. Um, pulling 672. She beat her record of 661, 300 kilograms, and it's 305. Whatever
Nice.
those equate to exactly. And then Sean Shoemaker, who's I think he's one of the most legendary deadlifters there is. Um, Masters 105 is a class now, so there's records for it. And I was
Oh,
super
nice.
happy to have Sean set a deadlift record because otherwise someone will come along and do like a 750 and be like, yeah, that's the world record for Masters 105. And it's like, yeah, but so many of those guys can deadlift 800. So I'm glad we set it somewhere to start with. It's
Heck yeah,
865.
that's awesome. He was on. Heck, he was planning to break the world record for the 105 too, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. That's some of the records are records for a reason. You got to
Mhm.
be, it's got to be the right day. And he's a seasoned enough guy that he was like, I have this much in me today. I do not have that much in me. So there's no point even going out there and like risking an injury or something like that.
It looked like he was straight leg deadlifting that thing too.
Oh yeah, they definitely do.
Yep.
Trey
Sean,
knows what I'm talking about now.
yeah, Sean's deadlifting is just always a sight to see. And I mean, like, it's a pretty good day when you get to settle on 865 is
Oh yeah,
how I look at it.
definitely.
And
Was he wearing a
that's
suit?
wild, man. Never wears a belt to deadlift ever.
So he wasn't wearing a suit or a belt.
Nothing. Never has.
Wow.
Oh my God, my
Yeah,
spine would
I
have
forget how many people
left
don't
my
know that.
body.
Yep. I've watched him deadlift a ton of times, and I always just love watching it. Dude, all he wears is just a pair of blue wrist straps.
Wow. That's
That's it.
impressive.
No nothing. No
Uh,
briefs. No goofy stuff. And any deadlift socks. No, he just walk out there like a person that just walked out the grocery store and just deadlifts 800 pounds. Just does. Like,
must be nice.
dude, it's crazy.
Oh man. Well, the record currently is held by a guy who was at, which is now Trey's show, the Southeastern Strongman.
Josh, yeah.
Yeah, Josh, he set that record. You've taken that over since the record was set, but that's now your show. And
Yeah, it was 926, 925, something like that.
yeah, I think it was 926.
So
Yeah.
Josh reached out to me yesterday, and because I have the classic coming up in April, and that's typically where the more records are being broke. But he requested he wants an axle max this time. He wants to set some kind of axle um, record.
Yeah. Yeah.
Come
So
He
on,
can
do
do it.
mine.
If he ever
Mine's
wants,
in April.
if Josh wants to set a deadlift record, I'm sure he can do it.
yep.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of people who would be willing to set it up too.
For Josh, for sure.
Oh yeah. So is there anything that stood out about the 90 kilogram or the 64 women
How long we
this
got,
year?
man?
Well, yeah, as long as you want. I mean, my wife's
Dude, I
already
don't
put the
even know
kids to
where
bed. She's told me, she said, don't wake me up when you come home. So I'm good.
it's man, I don't even know where to start. There was, I mean, just the lineup of women and men that came was awesome. From
Mhm.
top to bottom, we had seasoned competitors, world champions, people that were newer to the sport, like kind of like in years, but not in ability, if you will. You have people coming from Alaska, from Germany, from England, from New Zealand. So just as far as you can basically
Oh,
get in the world
wow.
away from Roanoke, Virginia. Um, I loved the battles, the 64s. You had like a couple of battles. You wound up once you got into the show a little bit, you could see Grace and Meg and Crystal kind of battling it out for podium spots.
Hmm.
And then the rest of them still were in like I didn't realize until I looked back at the total scores. I'm like, oh shit. Um, Jill, Alex, and Nadia were all within like a point and a half of each other too for four, 5, and 6. So that is
Dang.
always fun to see that stuff happen. And the guys kind of had something similar. Obviously Tyler won. He came on in the last half of the show and just won every event.
Yeah.
Hardly broke a sweat. He was doing his interviews and talking like he wasn't even out of breath.
Yeah, he's there promoting his book.
Hey, I told it, dude, that book, if people haven't read it, it's actually really well done.
Yeah, I'm planning on getting a copy of it.
I read it this past weekend actually. And how it's done is really well done. It's really like it feels good. It's high quality images and stuff. And how he wrote it, it reads like the regular book, but it's like a strongman version. I think it's real cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't talk about it enough. But just watching people like I love watching people trading places back and forth all day. Right? It's like who you think's going to win after event 2 or 3. Then all of a sudden it changes. And some really really cool performances. Watching Grace squat 12 reps on that was pretty cool.
Jeez, I didn't get to catch the first half. We were at the pumpkin patch, so I jumped in about the sandbag toss.
Okay, sandbag toss, dude. That's been one of my favorite events all year. Is just a different take on the same event and to see who really put thought into it, right? Because it's not really about how fast, it's how far you can throw them, and seeing who put some thought into that and who actually planned for it. I mean, I know Tyler painted his gym basically, but like who planned for it and who didn't. What kind of event strategy piece has always been fun to watch. And then probably I'd have to say one that people probably didn't notice too much is Keith Cherry. He messed up on the press event and got last. And usually when you get last on the first event, it's real hard to come back. And he fought his way back all day like the seasoned dude he is, and just level headed. And he came back and got 5th.
Wow.
And he got last on the first event, and it was just like, dang, dude. So when he came back throughout the whole day, I was like, this is pretty cool to watch.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to say too many because I'm gonna miss somebody and I'm gonna feel bad because there were so many things that were just ridiculously cool and awesome to watch and like kind of be a part of.
Well, the good news is our channel's still pretty small, so if you do miss somebody, they might not even notice.
I'll feel bad. I'll think of it 10 minutes after we're done talking.
Well, I will say something you spoke on with the women, like how close they were in points spread. It seems to be something that we've seen a lot in with the higher level women, and I think they have started to become more entertaining to watch because you get your same set of guys who are kind of winning every show, like Mitchell Hooper winning every show, but you look at like the Rogue and the Arnold, and now your show, you have these women. Every event, somebody different wins. It's not the same person winning every event. It gets really entertaining watching the women.
Yeah, no, for sure. I've likened it over the years to like whose day is it with what events versus just who the best one is like overall, which I think is really good for the sport. For the record, I think it's good that Hooper wins everything too because it brings a lot of new eyes.
Definitely.
But I like.
Anybody? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I didn't. When you said Hooper, I was like, did anybody see his video where he talked about the answered Q&A questions for people?
I hadn't watched it yet. I saw it pop up.
Yeah.
No, anyways, when you get a chance, watch that video. It is. I mean, he's real. He sounds like he's a sex phone operator talking on there with his new microphone, but the questions he gets asked and he answers them pretty well. So he's a very I met him in person and I trained with him in was it OSG year before last? Me, Laws, Rano. No, it was when we were in Daytona.
Oh, okay.
And so it was me, him, and Laws and Rano, and we all went to a local gym and worked out. And I mean, he's a very nice guy. But
yeah, for sure.
when you look at him, you got the Brian Shaws and the Eddie Halls, and you have the Matuses and all them. But you look at Mitchell, and he doesn't look like he's strong. Of course, his quads they've made news now, But I mean, upper body wise, he's not because he had his shirt off. There's no definition hardly there. But the guy's just an animal, and he's extremely smart how to use his body.
Mhm.
So I don't see anybody touching him for a while.
Yeah, no, he definitely has the whole package. Like you said, if you look at him in a lineup, most people wouldn't pick him to win a show.
Yeah,
But that's just byproduct of being an athlete. He's determined. He's incredibly smart, which he does not get the credit he deserves. Just how tactful he is. Half the time he's tactful, and people get on him for cheating or something. I'm like, no, he's just being smart about it.
Oh
that's
yeah.
right. He knows his rules. That's for sure.
Sure does.
Speaking of cheating and rules, I want to get your take on this. We talked about it on a different show, or a different episode. The Strong Court. Did you see the sandbag over the steeplechase, where the gentleman set the bag on the bar, and instead of throwing it over the bar and picking it back up, he set it on the bar, went under the bar, and then loaded it back on his shoulder?
I'm familiar with the event. I'm not gonna lie. When shows are this close, I tend to like tunnel vision.
Oh, I understand. I was
I
curious
think
if you saw
I
it.
think I saw a video in like Starting Strongman or something like that. Where a
Yeah,
guy,
it was all over
the
Starting
heavyweight guy, he
Strongman.
kind of put one on top. Instead of dumping it over, he like went under the bar and put it back on his shoulder.
Yes.
That's pretty
Right.
brilliant. Yeah, I think I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Someone posted on Starting Strongman, I want to say, but
Yeah.
it was brilliant.
I think so too. I heard, and I don't know if it's accurate or not, but I heard he asked if he could do that, and then later they took it away from him. So I don't know. I feel like if you asked,
that part, I definitely don't know about. I
Yeah.
don't know what
If
he
the
scored or
referees,
anything.
if the referees don't state that it's every little thing is as far as it's allowed or not allowed, if they don't state every little thing, you can't really be against him.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, it was smart. It slowed him down a little bit, but it saved his energy. So I can't fault him for
Yeah,
that.
save your back and hamstrings, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with. Well, I'm pretty clueless to what happened with it. Like I said, when we get closer to the shows, I kind of like tunnel vision in,
No, yeah,
and so the videos kind of like rings a bell. But what happened, I have no idea. I wasn't there.
I'm interested in how did you? I mean, PSL obviously is a well-known entity now, but how was it getting everything structured and to the amphitheater and getting everything organized? I'm sure it was stressful. I just had my first show put on, and we had like 40 athletes, and trying to get everything together about gave me a heart attack. So I can imagine what you were going through.
Yeah. As anyone who ever has put on anything, it's all about the team you have helping.
Yeah.
We have a absolute rock star of a team from top to bottom. And, it was several trucks and trailer loads the night before, setting up the floor because that's always a fun time. Said nobody ever. And then because a lot of our stuff you have to put it together, right? You got to put together the squat stuff. You got to put together the hitching posts. I would really say it's not stressful to me necessarily because I just know it's going to get done. And I also have already accepted something's going to come up that you weren't expecting. Right, you didn't plan for this, or a bolt snaps on that, or whatever the case. Rains on the sandbags, and so I just kind of take it as like I'm just going to handle it as it comes up. And so far, we've yet to ever encounter a problem that we have not been able to fix within a very reasonable amount of time. And so yeah, it's just people that are dedicated and paying attention to what they're doing and want to see it succeed is what I found is the biggest help. Is there's people that show up to help and just kind of do it. And there's people that are like, I believe in what's going on here. I want to help and I want to make it as good as possible. And that's the group of people that we have coming around with us to help is the people that want it to be successful. So that's definitely the biggest one that we, setting up all the lights because the show is going to get dark. So playing with all the lights up there, getting the live stream set up with Dante and all that. It's a lot of moving parts. And I think the biggest thing is just stay calm with it because getting mad and getting stressed don't help nothing.
Your live stream is phenomenal. I was very envious of it. I've been doing a little bit of that for shows around the country myself. Trey's been helping me with it, and so a few other people. We've done shows from Colorado to down to Tampa, but nothing to the level that y'all have done. And it's kind of been where I've been setting my goalposts. I've been trying to catch up to y'all, and I'm very, very jealous and envious of the fact that y'all had, last time I looked, y'all had like 500 subscribers, but back when y'all did the U80, y'all only had like 200 something subscribers, but y'all had like thousands of viewers live at one point, and we I think our highest right now was Trey's show. We had like 70 people watching live, but we have 1,000 subscribers, and it's so frustrating trying to get the people to join in. But y'all
It's
draw such a great crowd, and it's the quality because of the people you have around you.
right. It's the YouTube game, like the watch. It's wild. The '80s show was something special because we had a Jocko Fuel
Mm-hmm.
as one of our partners, and their page. And if you look at Jocko Willing's page, just you can go take a look. They posted 3 times each during the show with a link to it for
Oh,
their entire following to go watch it.
that
That's why.
definitely will blow
Yeah,
it
That's
they
up.
helped
why.
out a lot.
Which I
You
mean, it
know,
was a good show, regardless. I mean,
yeah,
you've got great announcers. You've got, uh, you said Dante. That's who your production crew is.
yeah. So yeah, Dante Petrella. We met him this year. Awesome guy. Was willing to just like getting back to he wants to see things succeed. He cares about what he's doing. He's willing to do basically whatever it is that it needs to
Mm-hmm.
take to get the job done. And he's not afraid to ask questions. He's also not afraid. He'll keep reinvesting in his setup. That's part of the reason why we've been able to do certain things or sync certain things is because Dante has reinvested into his setup over and over and over again. Um, and like you said, you kind of have like a goalpost or whatever. Like I've talked a lot to Don from ADL, watched their
Mm-hmm.
stuff to try to be like, okay, like who's doing this well. Same thing with Rogue, watching what they're doing, taking parts I like from each or whatever. And then I'm happy to help you with this, by the way, but like I basically teaching myself how to make all that stuff from
Yeah.
our show back in July until this one. One of my biggest focuses was getting the active scoreboard built, getting an
Yeah.
entire new layout and look. And it did come together. We held a few pieces back because we didn't want to put too much we didn't want to try too many things and it all fall apart.
Oh yeah.
Basically.
The active scoreboard
Well,
thing was something I've been trying for a while, and it was funny. Like you made the post showing all the new stuff, and I saw the post pop up while I was building the active scoreboard for our
yeah,
show in February, but it's harder to do when you have multiple divisions going at one or multiple lanes.
definitely.
If you have a single lane, obviously you can focus in on them. But for the limit breaker, I plan to have that. I haven't announced that really to anybody, but
There
we're
it
going to
is.
try to have active scoreboarding going.
Yeah. And dude, if it's something you want to connect about offline, like it was a
Yeah.
process to get ours built how we did. Um, it won't work for multiple classes, but I can at least share like, hey, here's what we did or here's how we did this. And then if it helps you, you can take
Yeah, I
that and
appreciate it.
adapt it to what you're doing. Because I think that some version of that is like where scoring really needs to go. Because if
Hmm.
you watch the Arnold or the Rogue Invitational, watching that scoreboard and how it works, it's like, oh, this is cool.
Oh, it's well. Speaking of scoring, is there a place where people can go find the results of this show?
Posting them tomorrow.
Okay.
So one of the things that because we have a pretty tight crew, they're all really good. When someone can't make it for a very good reason, like we're working on having like this buttoned up for next year, but one of our team members couldn't make it, which I wound up stepping into that place to fill it. That's why the show ran how it did. But then what was missed was the transfer of the actual scores to the live stream and making the graphic to post.
Gotcha.
So I have the graphics. Um, it's they're all ready to go. So I'm going to put them into a post uh, tomorrow, and I can always say I don't know. So they'll all be up there tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if you had a website or anything like that.
Yep, we're
We're
gonna get the
we're
website built. We
okay.
I didn't want to like I had a website for a little bit, and it wasn't the standard I wanted, which is fine. I was like, but I'm not gonna have it up there, right? Um,
Yeah.
and now it was like, all right, cool. This off season, if you will, there's time to actually build it the right way. Um,
I gotcha.
and the reason it wasn't up to standard before is we didn't have the stuff, right?
Hmm.
Like there wasn't a whole lot of stuff to put on there, so it looked like an empty website, and that's not what I wanted. So now we actually have a whole year's worth of stuff to put on there and kind of keep it up to date.
That'll be good.
And all of the scores of all of the shows will also be there.
That'll be really good.
It'll help out a lot. Yeah.
And admittedly, that was a big miss this past weekend. I was just stuck between making the pace of the show go how it needs to, or putting the scores on the live stream. And that's just the decision I had made. And, I'll always look
Oh,
back
you
and
definitely
second
made the
guess
right
it.
one.
But,
Yeah, you definitely made the call on that one. I mean, the live show is a lot more important than just graphics.
Yeah.
just want it all. Especially because our new scoreboard graphics that we're going to post up there look so cool, in my opinion, at least. Like I said, I can show you guys when we're done, just because I think they're cool as hell looking. But
You ain't gonna give us like an exclusive something?
here,
I'm just playing.
I can. Is that share button? What'll show my screen?
Yeah, you can. You don't have to. This video is not gonna be public for about a week anyway. So
Whatever that shit means. It's asking me a whole bunch of questions. It's like I don't know what screen to show. I think I can do. If I do that,
yep. Let's see. Oh,
so
yeah, that looks
these,
real good.
yeah, these are what we're gonna get. They were gonna get posted because we had a photographer piping in pictures to
Oh wow.
of the actual event itself. So this picture is of one of the women doing this is Alex Martin right here. Whoops, I don't know what I did there. Is Alex Martin actually throwing a bag in that event? And we were going to line it just like this as it was happening.
That's awesome.
Pretty neat.
Yep, like I said, it just getting that done wasn't it wasn't possible. I'm making sure everyone stays on track. We'll put it that way.
I got you. Well, I want to kind of corner you now that I got you on the live chat. So
Hit me, man.
we talked a little bit about my show in February being qualifier for the 105 men and the 73 kilogram women. But, I had mentioned I have people ranging from the 105 down to the 80 who are competing. And if a 90 were to win the men's and actually came in weighing in the 90 kilogram division, like came in, I checked their weight, and actually they were 90, and they won, would they qualify for the 105, or could we convince you to let them do the 90 instead?
Well, if Tyler Davis decides to win that, he can compete in either class or both if he wants. Technically,
There's a chance like 4 of your guys from your show, 5 of the guys, I think. I mean, there's a chance 5 of those guys that competed this past weekend are doing this show too.
Yeah, by all means. And what I would say is, like, if you want to qualify for the 90s show, got to compete against 90s. If you want to qualify for the 105 show, obviously got to compete against 105s.
When are you gonna let us? When are you gonna let us heavyweights get in there?
That was my next question.
So it's always a conversation, man. Like I said, our heart, there's a lot of opportunities out there for big guys already. So our heart and passion is really in the weight classes. That being said, maybe, and Trey, I don't know exactly where your weight sits. There's been some talk of a 265 or 275 class for men, which naturally just leads itself to the open, right? It's just a matter of not taking away from what we have right now to add that, because our goal is to provide really good opportunities, and I don't want to lose, let's say, the 80s, right? I don't want them to have a worse experience or worse payouts or whatever, because we try to afford the big guys and try to do too much at one time. I could see it getting there at some point for sure.
I could definitely drop to the 275 class. I walk around 285 to 290 range.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think it's 125 kilos is what the talk was, 120 or 125. So yeah, that would likely be the next iteration. Now, when that happens, I promise the world will know as soon as I do, because I do not know.
If that happens, we may adjust the limit breaker classes to fit that.
Sure.
Well, shit, that's not good. No, you can't. Now you're throwing too many wrenches in there.
Well, hey, if it's going to be a qualifier for that,
Yeah, but I like beating all the big boys because I'm always smaller than they are, so it's nice beating all the 350-pound guys.
Well, we'll just have a higher level 265.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, wait a second. As soon as I know whenever that's coming, I promise. As soon as I know, the world will know because I get asked on a weekly basis, when are you going to have this? Or even at the show, it's like, hey, when are you going to let us big guys in there? I'm like, I'll get there. Y'all are a lot. There's a lot of y'all. Rather, my fault.
Yeah, there is. The reason why I asked is because obviously, good athletes want to go to shows that are ran well.
Mhm.
You have a lot of shows out there now that pick a lot of favorites, and sometimes it gets kind of because they're kind of tailoring their events to their athletes that they have. So it's nice when you have a truly ran show that actually is for everyone rather than a few people.
100%. That's one thing I've always said is like we have a very specific group of people that help test these events. They are not competing in them. They are not coaching anyone competing in them. They're not related or living with or anything like that. And so far, there is 4 of them. So far, no one has figured out any one of those 4. And
Good.
Oh,
so
that's good.
everybody gets to find out the events at the exact same time, including the people involved, like CJ that's involved with Nancy that helps us on that end. They get to find out at the same time as everybody else does, which the athletes find out first, and then it gets posted on Instagram. But and that's how it'll always be. And actually,
Well, I'll
those
never be
people are the
good.
ones who know not to ask, right? They would never even bother asking because they already know what the answer is, and I'll just get annoyed at them.
Yeah.
Well, if I'll never be good enough to be in one of your shows, so if you ever need a 5th person, just holler at me. I can keep a secret pretty well.
I'm gonna say one of us, including myself, is bound to get hurt one day, and we need someone else to play around with some stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Especially the stuff we start with and what it ends up being, because what it starts with and what y'all see are not the same thing.
Oh, I can only imagine. I was changing events last year up until about a month out.
Yeah, no, I mean, like we usually have probably like, I think this past year we had 47 total events that were like, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of started whittling them down to what actually worked. And that's where, like the throwback series came from. It's a little bit different. The sandbag gauntlet, CrossFit has a very similar iteration of it. Stuff like that. That's where that stuff comes from, is like nothing's a bad idea until we put it on the board and decide that's a bad idea.
Yep.
Yeah, we threw in a sandbag gauntlet last year. It was just a whim. It was a press, shoulder to both sides, carry, and then a load.
Brutal.
It was rough, but it was one of the most entertaining events, I think.
So like I
It
can't do
was.
a gauntlet where you had to load it to your shoulder, and that's the only way you could put it over the bars. It had to be on your shoulder first. You had to like shoulder it and then carry and load it. No, we're actually going to re-look at a few things on the sandbag gauntlet next year. I was talking to Luke Davies, actually. He said, so if this happens, everyone can blame Luke. Every round to make the heaviest bag heavier. So kick the lightest one out and make a heavier bag for the next round. And I was like, because right now it's 3 rounds, right? You just cut it down. And I was like, okay, well, what can we do differently, right? How can it be improved or whatever? And he said that, and I was like, that's going on the board.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite events. Like watching, I think it was the 105 men and the 73 women. Like when they did that run, the women, that was one of the most entertaining events that year, or that comp.
It was cool, like because the 105s and the 82s in Virginia Beach.
82s, yeah.
It was we were like, well, the equipment is sturdy as hell. We're not worried about that, right? You go through, what are you worried about? Cerberus sandbags are great. The guy that built the stuff that we have, I mean, he's a master carpenter. It's fine. And it was like, cool, how's the event going to go? Is it too light? Is it too heavy? Is it too fast? Is it whatever? And just, dude, the whole, everyone there in person was just like on the edge of their seat, standing up, like trying to figure out, like, it was at that moment, I was like, hey, we picked the right one. Because it's really
and you had it going head to head there, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, because there was enough. But my problem, like, because it's designed a very specific way to where you get like this much rest and the winner goes 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And if we ran head to head, it needs 10 people. If there's less than 10 people running it head to head, like starts to mess with the desired amount of like, I want this specific amount of rest. It starts messing with it. Plus, somebody winds up going on anyways. with how it cuts down. And so we're like, well, we'll just run one at a time for the 64s and just kind of keep moving them through. Is why it looked a little bit different there.
And I'm blanking on names, but for the 82 women, didn't it come down to a coach and an athlete head to
And
head for the
Nadia and
final?
Jessica. Yep.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's funny actually. They went against each other twice because there was a round of 4, and they went against each other, and then they were the top 2, so they got to do it again.
That was awesome.
It was
That
cool.
was my favorite event watching that year, for sure. Or not that year, that grouping.
Yeah,
And
it was a good time, and that was actually the show we learned if there's not 10, it messes with all that
I got you.
because there was 8 82s, which is awesome. We learned that screwed with the rest time, and it was like, never mind, we got to have 10, or I got to figure out like how to change it up a little bit.
I got you. So you right now your men's divisions, you do 80, 90, and 105s,
Mhm.
and then your women you do 64, 73, 82.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm trying to decide if I'm going to adjust the limit breaker at some point and start spacing it out so each class gets a little more
Sure.
showtime versus trying to run 4 or 5 lanes to make it
Yeah.
run through the day.
Mhm.
So now that we are connected, I would like to try to model after you and make sure I'm sending the right people to you.
By all means, dude. I love to hear it. And like I said, we can connect it, but I'll tell you exactly what we do. It's not really a
Yeah.
secret.
No.
And it's like what has and hasn't worked for us in the past because we're always trying different stuff. And boy, is there a laundry list of things that did not work, and we will not be doing them again. And I would strongly
Well,
recommend everyone not to do them.
the first year we did this show, I competed, loaded, and hosted, and I will never do that again. So that was my first lesson right there.
Yeah, messed up.
I was moving the sandbags for the next person after I got done reloading the sandbags.
I mean, power to you. Like I said, I'll help where I can, like reset and whatnot. But yeah, no, you gotta to run a good show. You can't be in the shit the whole time too, because you're gonna miss certain stuff.
It was just 7 of us in a division, so it wasn't too bad. Oh man, I trying to think. I had a bunch of different things I was going to ask you, and now I'm sitting here blanking on all of it. Is do you don't use the same location for each show, right? You kind of bounce it around. I know you did California, you did Virginia, and then what was
Yeah, I mean,
the
we've had
105s?
California, Denver. They're all East Coast this year, so there was Baltimore, Virginia Beach, and Roanoke.
Mhm.
And that was kind of by design, because I live in Maryland. So I was local to them, like driving distance. We had an issue in California where there was supposed to be someone making and delivering equipment that just didn't. And I remember the feeling of like, if I was at home, I could fix this right now. But I wasn't. So we actually pulled, like, thank God we're in LA. So it's 5 gyms we got stuff from. Mad props to all of those gyms. But it's local-ish. So like I said, there's no issue with like equipment and availability and all that stuff. The other piece is it's a lot cheaper on the organization to not have to ship all the equipment. So then
I
that
can
allows
imagine.
us to reinvest into the athletes and stuff like that. In a big way, because shipping just gets really expensive even for the smallest stuff when you ship it there and back, there and back, there and back. We did Missouri with Chad too.
Mm.
Yeah,
I
they're
can
probably
imagine.
all the East Coast again next year. I love my West Coast people. I promise we're trying to figure out a way to get out there. But just places that people like going. Yet so
Yeah.
far, every place we've been, like all the athletes do, actually love this area because it's a trip at the same time, and they get to go do things with their family or whatever, right? So that's
Yeah.
also a big thing we try to consider is where would people enjoy visiting?
Well, is there anything that's not been announced yet, like new location for next year that you want to let it loose here, or want to kind of
There's
keep it
been,
close to the vest?
I mean, there's been some talk about Pittsburgh.
Oh, okay.
There's been some people in the South that have asked me to bring it down there. I don't know. Right now, it's not a good time to ask me to bring it down into Florida because it's hurricanes and stuff. But like,
Yeah.
Savannah, Georgia would be a pretty cool place to have a comp.
yeah, Savannah. I love Savannah. It's a great airport to fly into. It's a cool place. You got Tybee Island right across the bridge.
Yep.
You know, one thing I
We
look
could-
at is what's the infrastructure already there? You know, because I live in Maryland. I'm from Roanoke, and then Virginia Beach. We have a really close relationship with some people there. So there's infrastructure already there, versus trying to take all the infrastructure and meet somewhere that it doesn't already exist.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Man, if
You know, that's
we
the
could
big
get you
thing
to
that I ask.
if we could get you to like get the BJCC in Birmingham, which is like our concert hall, and they host a ton of events, car shows and stuff. But you would be center to me, the U.S. State Chair, Trey, and one other guy who you wouldn't have to bring any equipment between all of us, I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind bringing equipment. It's just what can fit on a trailer, a reasonable
Yeah.
sized trailer, not a 40-foot one. Um, is the
Yeah.
difference. I'm always open to hearing what people have to say. Like right now, nothing is the 105s and 82s. They're going back to the beach. That's already set in stone. Nothing else is officially set in stone of like where and when. The Strong Fest and all that's probably going to happen again too. But I'm always open to like, hey, like here's a place that could happen. And all I tell people is like, just accept if I say, hey, that doesn't make sense for us. It's not personal. It's never personal.
Oh yeah.
Unless I tell you it's personal. I'll just tell you. Like,
I don't like you. Go away.
I've had the conversation where it's like, I just don't think that this group of people and you are what we're looking for to help. It's not necessarily personal. People take it personal. Like I said, you
Well,
guys
it's your
are
business. You got to keep it. You got to handle your business. So
that's what I understand. I tell people regularly, like sometimes I'm like, hey, this is exactly what we're doing. It's not a team decision. And I'm like, it's because if this goes wrong, everybody in the world's gonna say, fuck Tyler, he sucks. So I'm gonna be the one that makes that final decision.
Yeah, that's true. You're the one with all the risk.
Yeah, like I
Yes.
try not to be the face and make it about me, but I know good and well if something goes really bad, everyone's gonna look right at me. And for the record, fair play.
yeah.
That's just kind of what I signed up for.
Yeah, everybody's called it this year. Shaw Classic and then Rogue last year. So seems like they're all getting their their bashings here and there.
Yeah, I mean that's just. I mean it's also like a what I say is like a good thing in a sense. Like first of all, you need people to be honest with you. Whether or not you deserve to get bashed is beside the point for a second. Because the more, I mean, like us, like true hardcore strongman fans, like we just get it, right? We're gonna go bash Shaw for an oops. He'll beat himself up enough. We don't have to. But like an oops on the axles, right? That shit sucks. Whatever. But like it's the casual common fans that are most of the time the ones going to make that big noise, which means we're getting to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like cool. Like
Yeah.
we're getting to that casual common fan that doesn't necessarily understand or hasn't ran a show. Like it's just expanding the audience to where those people exist, which is a good thing because if they're complaining, they're obviously watching.
For sure.
That's right.
Yeah, you're not gonna get off running shows. You're not gonna get off scot free from people complaining about things. You do.
No, not at all.
Definitely not.
I got a list of them from this past weekend. Don't worry. I just got to
You're never going
determine
to
which
please everybody. So
I don't know, and we operate on like it really is athletes first. When we decide to do something, that's usually the first question that gets asked: is this truly for the athletes, or is this like for something else? And then it's just taking care of everyone that needs to be taken care of, whether it be our sponsors, our team members, again, the athletes, people there watching, like all of that. And
well, I mean, you've done a phenomenal job. I've never heard anything negative said about your show, and I've spoken with a large amount of the athletes who've competed this year. I mean, from the U80s all the way to the 105s, especially the men. I've spoken with a few of the women as well. I've never heard anything but positive feedback. So you're doing a great job, and definitely something I'd like to model my show after. So you got my respect there.
Yeah, by all means, man. That's what we love to hear, right? Is people having a good time, like noticing, like, hey, we act like it's easy to say you care about athletes, right? And it's another thing to actually go the distance and actually show that you care in the ways that you're able to at what you're doing. And that's something I've always believed in, like do the right thing and people will notice.
That's right.
bites me in the ass a lot right now because my inner circle is like, Tyler, you've got to talk about yourself and you've got to talk about what you're doing. I'm like, feels like I'm bragging. I feel like an asshole. But like the reality is, the first couple things I said, everyone's like, holy crap, you do that? And I'm like, damn it. Because it's my fault that people don't know. Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's just like, son of a. And so trying to figure out the balance where I don't feel like an arrogant asshole, but yet not shortchanging the organization or anything like that because people don't know what it is. But that's the thing is like you love athletes having a good time. That's the thing that we're always gonna like, from the judging to the shirts to the boxes to the communication, just everything you can think of. Where it's like, how do we do this for the athletes the best? Because that's what this is for.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we have been going for a little over an hour now. I know my dinner was a protein shake, so I got a little extra I'm going to eat when I get home. I'm still at the gym over here doing this, but is there anything that you would like to shout out? Anybody you want to thank or, I know Cerberus, we're going to say something positive about them before we get off because they are a sponsor of this channel, and
Yep.
I know they are the sponsor of your show, so.
Yeah, no, the Cerberus Super Series is, that's what it is, and it's the goal is to be the top dog at what we do, and it definitely doesn't happen without them, and that's both Ken and the HQ guys, Cal and Peter overseas, that a lot of people over here aren't exposed to as much, but those guys are definitely a huge part of all this. And then I talk all the time about all of our different partners and sponsors. It's late over. It's 11 o'clock over here. I don't want to miss any, but I will definitely say from the big ones like Zone, Serious Steel, Pioneer, to the like more local ones like Strong Crew, for example.
Oh yeah.
That brand is awesome, and just all the vendors that come to the shows and all the people that tune in. I mean, that's the name of the game, right? The more eyes, the better off it is for everyone. And two things that I think people forget to think a lot. You'll probably appreciate one of them, but the first one is Hossware for making just the best shirts in the game. I've never seen anything like it. Jake and Ross and their team go the distance to give the coolest shirts. I mean, like I said, our flags on the back of the shirts with the names in them. I've never seen it before. People love them. And then the other thanks is to the production team. Like, I can make cool graphics all day, but without Dante, Jen, CJ, then we had Luke, Stacy, the people that sit there and talk about it, it's all for nothing, because if you got a crap commentary team or a guy that can't switch graphics in and out, all your work just goes to shit immediately. And so definitely a big thanks to them. And, I tell people, like, I say it whenever it comes up, like your show, I'm like, oh, check it out. Because Jeremy and Tyler were like, yeah, Chris is a good dude. And I'm like, well, if Jeremy and Tyler are saying something to me, that's just take that to the bank. So I can't wait.
I was very grateful for that.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch your show. And see what's up. But that's a very long thank you. My fault.
No.
I think I'm from the Midwest or something with how I fucking did that.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on. I'm going to play the outro real quick, and then if we can hang out for a few more minutes after this, if you want. But sure. I'm just going to stop recording. Last fall, finish all your